Perfect. G'day guys. We're working on a lovely picture of a newborn child at the moment. I've done the first layer, wild and crazy, and now the job is to come on back and start building out some of the more colours we want to play into. Hopefully by the end of the session, we'll start leaping into a few more of the pastel colours, but we'll see how we go. That's the plan anyway. There we go. All right. Now, magenta. Kicking off with magenta. Watata. Hello, Sebastian. Great name, mate. One of the finest. Just sneaking around. Oh, there we go. Delightful. Shoot that and put it on the... There we go. Hey James, how we doing? Thanks for joining in, James. Appreciate you. Now, if you've been watching the reels, you'll have seen this picture before. If you haven't seen the reels, that's okay. You only missed a few wild colours getting thrown around. And now, we can all start painting them together. Cheers, James. In fact, speaking of paintings though, I've been talking or thinking about doing, well, in fact it's just a fantasy. I'll keep it for now. But print shop isn't far from opening, which will be exciting. It's been closed for a while now, so I'm pretty excited to get those back available for everyone. I was thinking about selling the high quality JPEG files, so the high quality pictures of the artwork. They're the high quality scans that I get turned into prints, but getting it on the really high quality paper and also shipping it and professionally framing it to make sure it's beautiful, this can be very expensive. And so what I was thinking of doing was actually just selling the file, and then for families or people who own a frame or can print it themselves or know someone, they can go through their own budget-friendly option to make their print. I kind of like the idea. It's still in early days thinking though, because it's quite nice to do it all, but it just allows more people to have access to it. So that's just what the fantasy thought is at the moment. Yeah, James, get back into it. Start painting. There we are. Hello, Meakin. Mike, sorry. Long day. I was actually supposed to be out there in the middle of a giant field today, Mike, but the world's a crazy place. The wind was too strong. I was going to use my peg. If you've seen it, it hooks in the bottom here and hooks the canvas down. Long story short, couldn't find the peg. So here we are. I don't mind it actually though. Being here gives me shade as well. And I think the one thing I hadn't considered today was how stupidly hot it was going to be. It's hot here in New Zealand. Yeah. I think it's I think one of the things I like the most, and this is going to infuriate some artists, the thing I like the most about painting on the deck, or just outside in general, is the changing light that makes you consider the artwork from multiple directions. We're trained to think you need the perfect kind of stable light to create art. This is, I feel like a meme right now, but this is not the best. What's best for your art is to actually be able to see the light changing on it and how that affects the picture. How would you be expected to actually create a piece which would take into account changing light situations if you'd only ever seen it in one light situation? The most beautiful thing about art, I find, is when the sun rises and then noon and then it sets, that the artwork itself is catching the light differently and changing. And to really appreciate that, you need to make the artwork outside in the point of where it'd be most exposed to that light. So then, when it's inside the house and this effect occurs subtly, that light change is intentional. I've got James backing that thought up. That's a plus. That's a plus. All right, guys. 53 lovely souls in the room today. It's great to see. Now, the one thing we're doing differently with this one, we've got a unique opportunity that I want to lean into. This is going to be a floating canvas, if I can get permission. If I can get permission to, this canvas, well, it's a hardboard actually, hardboard masonite, oil tempered. I'll suspend it in space. So not only will it have a gap between it and the environment around it, it'll actually seem like it's floating, like it's not even attached to the wall. But, before I get anyone excited on that idea, I'm fantasizing about it. I haven't got permission. Oh, Mike, you absolute champion. Mike, they may have instructions for you to follow, and they may have systems. Just know that if you're having fun in that room, you're the most successful artist in it. A lot of successful artists forgot how to enjoy themselves while they did their craft. And because of that, I would argue that they're no longer artists. You'd be like, you can make tortured art. That's what they tell us. Or that's what we'd be brought to believe. But actually, even Van Gogh's work is not tortured art. Van Gogh, I believe, was only ever at peace while he was making art. But the good thing about the porch here is I've got my salad garden right here. So much flavour in your own lettuce. No. That's correct because your definition on it. I wouldn't get hung up on the idea of a perfect piece by what your current definition is. It wants to be imperfect and wild. Like you, or more importantly, this is the classic example I come back to. Dan. I'm glad to remind you. Think of the perfect piece like the person you love. They're not perfect, but in your eyes they are. They've got their rough edges and their imperfections, but it all comes together in a picture that you love. Art's no different. In fact, the perfect piece for you may have bits in it that you resent. See, I always grew up through art school thinking that actually, if it was going to be the perfect piece, I would love every single inch of it. But when I find little bits of it that I don't like, but that belong, this is actually what helps make the perfect piece. There we go. How long does it take for you to get set up? I mean, there's the drive there and the drive back. One of the things that takes the longest time is when you get to a location to paint in, sit there for a while. Don't just start, sit there. Take everything in. What's the light doing? How fast is it moving? What's the wind doing? Is it strong? Is there shade nearby? Did I miss what the shade could do for me? Figure out your environment and you'll have a better time. But because the easel sits up anywhere and I've got all the paint in a bag, my setup time should be around 15-20 minutes, leisurely. If I was in a super hurry, 3 minutes. But we'd be on a lightning buzz then. You're welcome. But yeah, I mean that, sit there. And sometimes you'll be thinking, no, I need to start painting. And then while you're painting, you've got this infuriating thing, mosquitoes, light, reflections, wind, water. Who knows what it's going to be bothering you. So take the time to figure out your environment to then have a successful painting session. Because if it's going to be a successful painting session, you might be there for 4 or 5 hours. Take that 15 minutes to plan. You won't regret it. And sometimes you'll just sit there and nothing will happen. And in that time, you can use it like an almost meditative time. Cheers, Diane. We were supposed to be in one today, but it didn't quite turn out that way. Ironically, I sat in the location before I ruled it off thinking, too windy, can't be done. So I was going to use my peg, but didn't have it. So, too windy, can't be done. Well, it could have been, but with extreme discomfort. a bit of there we go. Hey Jew, welcome on back. Mike, I have, but not for a long time. I love colour. I love colour. To remove it would, I mean, from a method point of view, colour's almost my why. But I do enjoy actually getting the picture itself, turning it black and white, and seeing what it looks like. But typically, no. No. Hey, Alex. And one more time to win. You're correct. You are correct. It's a baby wrapped in lovely fabrics. So it's taking time, slowly building it out. But you'll see the fabric's wrapped around it here. Its head here with its eyes closed. And then a little beanie on there with a few objects heading off in the background. That's the plan. Yeah. If you're used to using one new thing I've got. This is very new. Very new. Paint cup. This is the first time ever, I think, on live in the last 2 years anyway, that I've used a paint cup. It's not my style. It is not my style. But the winds of change are afoot. So a little look-see here. Here we go. Hello, Stephen. Now we're talking. Now we're talking to it. Beautiful. Ooh, Scott. I wouldn't know the answer to that question off the top of my head, but I spend a lot of money on art supplies. I try and get the best paints I can get. The brushes, I don't mind saving $1 there. But when it comes to the paint and the pigment, don't ever try and save money on paint. Paint deserves every dollar because that's the colour. There's the power behind the work. Its own saturation, its presence in a room. You need to get good colour. Pink is my least favorite color, Seb. Well, if you love each color equally, then that's not too bad. But I'm sorry pink's not your favorite color. But like I say, with this work, we've got lots of colors to add. Pink's predominant right now, so be it. But we'll see where it goes. I probably do about 0.2 of a painting a day. So every 5 days a painting gets completed. You got wild coats, you've got relaxed coats. Whole mixture of things. Hello. Sarah. Piffed. I love pink. Fair enough, Sarah. Well, the cool thing about colour is we're all allowed to have our favourites. We don't need to be stuck on what someone else is into. And don't worry, you'll all see your favourites before the end. This painting has an absolute spectrum that is in it. It'll slowly come out, stroke after stroke. Ooh. You know what? I can't actually help you there. My experience with watercolours is low. I've got them, I use them, but the one thing that pulls me away from them is the fact that watercolours, in the heat of the moment, don't layer well. And in the heat of the moment, I love to layer. I love to watch colour after colour jump over top of each other. Yeah, the blue and pink are gonna fall to the back a little bit as time goes on. So, give it time though, give it time. Just enjoy where it's at. We can just watch it change together. Go. A little bit of orange. Hey Jude, how we doing? Ooh. For those who've been here before, I like the classics. I like the Michelangelos, Da Vinci's. I like the Picasso's. Van Gogh's my number one. The idea of Van Gogh with an Instagram account keeps me up at night, wondering would that have been different? Would he have found his people? Some people say, nah, that was always going to be his fate. Other people would say, no, he would have had a different future, different trajectory. The world would have been different had Van Gogh been born in the 1990s or the 2000s. I honestly don't know. I just like to wonder about these things. Hey Jay, welcome on in. And if Van Gogh became Instagram famous, would that change his craft? Improve it? Make it worse? Someone tell me. These are the things I ponder. Someone might be like, no, it would have ruined his craft. Attention ruins art. But the art getting attention is how it has an effect on people, like Starry, Starry Night. So the paradoxical nature of an artist making what they believe in isolation, then dying before the world sees it, is kind of effective if attention ruins art. Kind of like, I can't do it when everyone's looking. Harold doesn't think so. And Alexandra Maria, yeah, I suppose so. And thanks, Rancho, man. I'm doing good, Jay. See you, Taylor. Thanks for joining in. Beautiful. Hoppin' colours. Hoppin' colours. See, I've got a different opinion on that, Jew. You know what I think about it? We talk about him translating his pain. I think that actually when he was making his art, the pain wasn't there. I think when he was making art, it was the one time when he was in peace. And I think that because when I heard about Van Gogh's pain, it didn't match his artwork. And people were like, oh, he made that through his pain. I'm like, but it doesn't look like that. Me as another artist looking at it, I don't see pain in there or the transmutation of pain. I don't see it. What I see is actually a person at peace, a person making beauty, a person constructing a painting. And I think that actually what helped Van Gogh survive the 10 years he did, and actually the greatest peace Van Gogh found in his life, came from painting. He wasn't in pain his entire life in that he used the pain to make something beautiful as he died. He was actually in pain most of his life, but when he painted, he wasn't. Otherwise, I swear, I'd be able to see subliminal messages or existence of pain in his work, but I don't see it. I just don't. All I see is innocent beauty, peace. There we go. Rancho Man. Rancho Man's talking like if Van Gogh had social media, he'd talk. But like Maria Brophy writes in her book, Maria Brophy is the wife of Drew Brophy. She's not an artist, she's a lawyer, but she entered the world of art for her husband Drew. She says the idea that art has to come from pain is absolutely madness. It's a cultural thing that we've proliferated and turned into this beast that art must have sacrifice and break you in some way in order to be made. No. This is a mistake. Art comes from emotion. And if art comes from emotion, sadness, although it's the easiest one to muster when you're all by yourself, sadness is only one emotion on a spectrum. You can make art from happiness, you can make art from excitement and joy, but these are harder things to muster in a world of isolation. If you're painting by yourself in a garage or a basement somewhere, it's much easier to harbour feelings through the isolation of sadness and make that into a creation. But actually, in that isolation, if you can muster joy, happiness, excitement, fulfillment, pleasure and love, the artwork can be made from that. That can be the fuel. Think about it exactly like Monsters, Inc. And I know you're like, oh, serious topic, and he's now talking about a Pixar movie or a Disney movie. I forget which one it is. In Monsters, Inc., they're using screams to power the city. And they go into these kids' rooms, and these monsters scare the kids, and they fill the scream containers. And then it turned out, at the end of Monsters, Inc. 1, they figured out, oh wow, turns out laughter fills these canisters 10 times more effectively. Is that a surprise? Would it be a surprise if we found out art was made more effectively with love, joy, and pleasure than it was with pain, misery, and suffering? I mean, there'd be a couple of people who had felt so much pain, misery, and suffering that they couldn't grapple with that idea because I'd resent it too much in the fact that the answer might have been the opposite to what they did. But on the whole, I think all of us would look at that and think, that makes perfect sense. Ooh. Most of the paintings are commissions, so they don't stay with me. They go to other places. Mainly to America. A couple of pieces go to Europe. Some pieces go to obscure places like, I said obscure, but places like South Africa, Phuket, a couple in Australia, and a bunch in New Zealand. Can you create two of the same pieces? I used to do that all the time, Catherine, where I'd paint two pieces side by side and they'd look uniquely different. That was a real thing. Hey Vernon, how you doing? And we had a comment here from Harold. But art must come from truth. And if truth is sadness, that's fine. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Sure, but at the end of the day, if you had the option, wouldn't you give someone happiness? Wouldn't someone want happiness on their wall inside their house? If someone was sad, wouldn't you want to make them happy? So, yeah, there's a place for capturing misery in art, but it's a place that we acknowledge exists, but then we need to try and not only divert the artist, but the viewer onto finding something more positive and happy. And I know it's not all sunshine and rainbows, I get that, but actually, when it comes to creating something permanent that's going to exist on your wall forever, we're talking joy, vitalizing happiness. It's like people who tell me art about misery and misery that comes from art or things is a real thing or the only thing. It's like the anti-art. It's like the anti-matter of the universe. And I'd explain that in the same way. Imagine you go to a coffee shop and someone says, here's your coffee. Imagine if you actually went to a coffee shop and they said, oh, not only is this not decaffeinated coffee, this coffee here is the anti-coffee. This coffee actually takes caffeine out of your system. You'd be like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit the world of what art is trying to do. It's yet some are not happy unless sad. Well, I mean, that's paradoxical and nonsensical, but when you say sad, a lot of people are happy in the process of sacrifice for another. That's healthy. Some fathers are happiest when giving to their family. Some people who work are happiest in a state of work when they're doing their job, even though it uses up their energy and exhausts them. It's still what makes them the happiest. But yeah, be careful, guys. Be careful talking about art and combining the idea with sadness. This is dangerous. This is dangerous for your craft. You've been lured into that, and it's not correct. If you felt how good it was, how good it could feel to make art, and feel pleasure from the process, not dutiful sacrifice, you'd never look back. It's like if you've been having anti-caffeine coffees, and I said, try a caffeine coffee, see how you like it, and then you try it, and then why would you ever go back to a non-caffeine coffee? G'day Taylor, welcome back in. here. Thanks, Taylor. We're just here yarning about not letting sacrifice become your go-to for creating art. Sadness, pain. These sometimes make art, but if you knew that the artist was in pain, if you were about to buy a piece of art, would you want to know that the artist was in pain when he made it? Would that make you find the art better? If it does, I'd recommend subtly seeing a shrink about that, because that's not great. But if you look at art and you want to know that the artist actually felt a euphoric state of flow, created something that actually they believed in, that they loved, that gave them pleasure and happiness and joy, and they wanted to share that with you. And yes, money changed hands, but the beauty that the artist created and that the artist felt, and your relationship with the art, now seeing it and knowing that, wouldn't you prefer that? Wouldn't everyone prefer that? I would say yes, definitely. It's like, imagine a house. Think about, and that's a good example actually. Think about a house. Would you prefer the home that your partner and your children will live in? Would you prefer that home be a home that the builder absolutely hated and resented to build? Every single block on it was grueling, and he broke himself and cried every night and hated the whole process, but made it for you because he had some sense of duty to some thing? Or would you prefer a home that the builder loved what he did? He loved his passion. He did it with this happiness and pleasure and joy. And I'm not saying he's on the tools just laughing the whole time, but as he's doing it, it's giving him fulfillment and building him as another soul within this reality. Definitely the latter. Definitely the better option. Harold, incorrect. I never said all art has to be that. I said we should definitely acknowledge. I mean, some people ask me about scary art, even horror art. Yeah, acknowledge those things. Acknowledge the sad art. But don't you dare come to me and tell me that the truest form of art involves sacrifice, suffering, and pain. This is just the most outrageous thought. I would almost laugh at it if it wasn't such a horrific idea. And actually, no, have all the kinds of art. They all exist. It's a giant smorgasbord of options, and grab whichever one you want. But just know, before you choose, you can make art with joy, pleasure, and love. Know that, and then choose whatever you want. It's a free world. You do what you want, but just know that. And once you know that, if you opt for something else, some people paint art that just represents things like movement or vigor or intensity. This is fantastic. Do your style of art, but know that if you looked at the board of all the options, that you could create art with, all the emotions and expressions you could use to capture art, and you chose misery and suffering, I don't know how to help you. I've made a few mistakes. It is what it is. See, Diane, if every time you built, you whacked your thumb and it got a giant bruise on it, would you keep building or would you find a new career path? That's a great point. I try not to do art when I'm sad or things like that because I don't want to pass that feeling on. Yeah, fair. Rodney? That sounds like an album cover. Yes, Nate, it is. People like to think it never gets on my shirt, but sometimes it does. There's actually a bit of a breeze around that captures the paint every now and again, flicks it. Just is what it is. Well, this white shirt that I got from an op shop, really quite exciting to slowly build up paint on it, turn it into its own big old work of art. I think that could be fun. You don't know if snazzy's the word. Fair. Cheers, mate. Appreciate that. Getting some lovely compliments from people around the place. BD, what are we painting? You'll have to guess. But, ooh. There we go. Bit of green through there. Yeah. Turn this shirt into its own big old piece of art. All right. Let's get some manganese blue. You see, there was method to the madness of choosing this as a paint cut. And I'll show you why. I put the lid on, so that way there's no chance, even if someone gets me upset about not feeling joy when they make art. Then I won't grab that and take a sip from it. It'll always be safe there. It's important. And exciting news, guys. It tells me here we are a popular live. I don't think that changes anything, but apparently we are. That's quite an intense idea. Possible. JRM knows what I'm painting. That's exciting. And cheers, Diane. I appreciate that. I'm glad I could come on here and share something with you today. I had big plans to be out there in the environment, but unfortunately, it's actually quite nice to get the shade, actually. Got a mosquito bite. That'd be worse if I was somewhere else. Whoa, down we go. superhero landing straight onto the knees. You know you're at the very least in your 30s when you watch someone like Captain America leap off a roof and land on one leg and one knee. And you see that and you think, ooh, that's hard on your knees. Or you watch a superhero running at full pace, going chunk, 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 chunk. And you think to yourself, good knees, good knees. And that's when you know you're more likely to be a dad than a young, wild teenager. When a lady comes running past you on the street, going boof, 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 running along, and your first thought isn't, that's a beautiful woman. It's, that's a good set of knees. That's what time does these things. Well, Catherine, I'm glad I could be here for you. And guys, really exciting. Someone's thumb is, speaking of knees going out of fashion, someone's thumb isn't far off arthritis because we've got to 17,000 likes. So that's pretty exciting. Especially exciting for this subject matter here too. Bringing new life into the world. What a fantastic thing. What an absolutely beautiful thing. Yeah. I do enjoy seeing all the posts though on Instagram about just different things about not full on aging, but being in your 30s or 40s. The different thing your bodies are going through and actually actually making you feel more included or normal. Okay, let's grab some white now. Some white. Cheers, Diane. Right. Speaking of exercising thumbs though, exercising thumbs and things with nothing to do with them. Well, it's an interesting comment because there's a lot of people here right now who'll be in their 30s and 40s, Diane, and the one message they can go to every single person who's here right now and whoever you meet is that you'll never be younger than you are right now. And so if you're avoiding doing something because you're not sure if you can, then you might just be putting it off indefinitely. And the best thing you can do is it's okay to say, I can no longer do that thing, but grab life, because it has this funny habit of gently, slowly slipping away. Well, Catherine, it'll be here before you know it. The best thing I can tell you to do right now, and I'll tell you this though, I'll tell you this because I wish someone had told me this when I was in my 20s. You might just enjoy your 30s a whole lot more than your 20s, and that's okay. 20s weren't really for me. 30s definitely are. You don't have to love what everyone else loves. Some people peaked in their teenage years. Some people peaked in their 30s. Some people peaked in their 20s. I love my 30s much more than I love my 20s. And that's totally okay. But I wish someone had told me that while I was in my 20s, so I could stop angsting that maybe the best years of my life were going by and just start enjoying myself with the area of the life that I was in. It's healthy and fun. G'day, Steve. Also, team, I am going to refill this cup with a little cuvee. So you'll still be able to hear me, but I'm going to wander off. I'll be back in just a second. Wandering off. That's what I needed. Hiding from you in the corner there. Oh, it's almost empty. We'll grab a different one. Should be through here. And here. Extreme bug spray. Well, you just know that's what I'm after. That's going to tick all the boxes for me. All the boxes. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, that's a yes. Yes, sir. A mosquito bit me on my neck, and this is going to fix everything. It was brave, but then I got it on myself. You can see a mark of green and a mark of red. There we go. That'll stop those pesky mosquitoes. That'll make a big difference. Ooh. Luis. Fernando. I'm framing a picture right now of a man named Fernando. I don't think it's you. You've got too much of a beard. Maybe it is. Maybe you grew it out. But I can't. I'll translate that. Translate. Watch out for Dingy AI. All right. It's just a nice, polite warning. How nice of them. Let's grab just a little bit more of this. Just a little bit more white. Then we need to combine it with a colour. Just decide what that's going to be over the next little period. Yellow. Dingy, we don't have dingy in New Zealand. Cuties in the know. I'm interested in what's happening here. I want to know more about what dingy is. Oh, yes, gotcha. Gotcha. No, no, we're safe from that here in New Zealand. All we get from mosquitoes here in New Zealand is good old-fashioned itching. So, that's still not ideal, but that's all you get. Second guess, baby in the arms of her mother. I love that you say arms of the mother, but the mother's not in this shot. It's just the baby. In fact, you can't see the mother, but the angle of the baby might suggest that actually the mother's holding it. You know what? I need to go back and ask the client. Because although we can't see the limbs, face, or body of the mother in any way, shape, or form, the angle of the baby, if that's the case, that's beautiful. Let me follow up on that. But no, it's just the baby in the fabrics. But if the mother is in fact holding the baby, that's even more beautiful. Because there's a metaphor there. The fact that the way the baby exists, is displayed, is resting, is captured in its portrait, involves the mother, even though she can't be seen. It's beautiful. There we go. And next colour. Coming off the ranks, what's it going to be? I think you got your language twisted there a little bit, Krishna. I would argue that if you weren't from New Zealand, New Zealand might be the very best place to solo travel. Is that a good place? I would say best place. Just because of the level of safety we have here in New Zealand, or historically have had. We've been quite lucky in that sense. I think that comes from being a small island nation, the size of Chicago. 5 million people. Beautiful. There we go. Yes, moody blue eyes, you're on the right track. What about the settling in New Zealand, apart from being a very isolated, how expensive is life there? Oh, Lamarck. Life in New Zealand is atrociously expensive. I mean, it depends. If you're living on minimum wage, then things like the supermarket costs, I think minimum wage here is $23 now. If you're getting $23 an hour, the cost of supermarket goods and rent is getting fairly outrageous. But if you're a high-flying software developer, you'll be fine. So, if you've got the money to move and settle in New Zealand, you'll be just fine. Would be my guess. Give it a black team. Oh. You gotta watch out for the old verify to continues. They can get you off guard. And 19,000 likes. We've almost broken the 20 team. We've almost broken the 20. If you work in IT, there'll be plenty of careers out there for you in New Zealand. New Zealand loves a bit of tech. We're not, are we cutting edge? Would we go that far to say that? I think that might be a bit too far as claims go, but I'd happily say we're doing our best. And it's a tall order. Be right back. All right, we'll catch you later. There we go. Just keep layers coming in here. One after another. All right. Well, that's pretty cool. Is that don't duh me? Don't duh me? There's currently no gallery with work here in New Zealand. That may change after 365 days, or what is it, 250 until next summer. But at the moment, all the work, I don't have any in my studio, and I don't have any in a gallery. So a lot of the work is commission based. So after it's made, it travels. Now, that being said, I have been working on a private collection, and if the private collection doesn't sell once it's come available, it's likely that collection will be available for purchase or viewing in a gallery of some sort. Hey Sarah, from Wellington. I like Cafe Lafare's, Sarah. I reckon they're a good place. I wonder if they still do good milkshakes or if that's stopped now. They used to be all the rave while I was in Dunedin. In Wellington. Cafe Lafare, get an eggs Benedict, have a milkshake. course, I'm not a big milkshake boy. Being that I'm lactose intolerant, you haven't been there in a while. All right, well, that being said, are you a coffee drinker, Sarah? And if you're a coffee drinker, where do you go? If not Cafe La Fare, then where? Okay, you are a coffee drinker. This is a good sign. We'd get along, but now we need to know, where do you go? I can already see it now. Sarah's going to be like, I make my own coffee. I like Aero filtered coffee. I had one of those one time. I reckon the best coffee you can get is those Italian machines that go on the stove. They taste like espresso, but they're not espresso. They're some form of percolation. No way flat white. Caffeinated in... Ooh, alright. Caffeinated in Batoni. Caffeinated in Batoni. I make my own coffee, Sarah, so that impersonation I was putting on you, that's me. I do go out, but Sarah, my favourite kind of coffee is long black. Sorry, not long black, short black. So as strong as you can get it, and as small a portion as you can get it, like an absolute little pocket rocket. And when I'm having it at home, I put a little ice cube in it. And the reason I do that is it means I can drink the whole short black in one sip. One concentrated, powerful, joyful sip. My reasoning being, if I can have all that happiness in one hit, why wouldn't I take it? The counter argument being, if you could spread that happiness out, why wouldn't you do it? But for me, I just like it all in one sip. Same as your dad, yeah. Your dad knows what he's doing. He's on the right track, Sarah. Okay, if you're making it at home though, what are we doing with it? Coffee is happiness. Powerful comment, powerful comment. You wouldn't dare try it. Come on, Diane. Short black's the way to have it. You'll laugh, cry, it'll change your life. Here we go. All right, now let's get some aqua marine blue. Just underneath the surface. It just emboldens these blacks in the most beautiful of ways. I find ultramarine blue just gives us, sorry, I said aqua again, idiot. Ultramarine blue just gives us added zest to black. Black just tries to be so dark and negative. In real life, these guys would be best friends. Ultramarine blue's dragging black out to town. And carbon black's just like, no, let's just stay home and, I don't know, fall into the background. but ultramarine blue won't have a bar of it. When they go out, they don't turn into pink, but they do go out. Yes, a mocha pot. Well, that's the thing, Aaron. I love those things. Didn't realize that was a name for it. Moccona milk, 1 sugar. But you only have flat whites when you're out. Yeah, I'd agree with that. The milk from one of those commercial machines is reasonably unparalleled. Reasonably. Here we go. All right, team. Now, I'm not going to bail on you altogether. I'm going to put the recording on pause. So I'm going to disappear for just a moment. Bathroom break, grab a coffee, grab a muffin, and then I'll come on back. So if you hang around, I'd love to have you back. And if you disappear, I'll totally get it. Sarah, Aaron, if I see you guys, and Diane, Jay, if I see you guys in 5 minutes, fantastic. And if you guys get busy and run off, that's also fantastic. I'm also going to put a bit of mosquito ointment. That one's driving me absolutely crazy. Anyway, guys, where can I find a button? It's around here somewhere. It is Alright, we made it back just in time. And I had a little costume change because it is hot. It is hot. Proof. Here's my little coffee. I got crema on top. Very impressive. Very impressive. The cup itself. Shelby made this in Bali. Look at this. Shown this off before. Love this one. And anyway, we'll see who hung around. I see Steve there. Hey, Steve. It's a neat car. Cup. Coupe. Right. Let's get that same blue. Let's chuck some white through it. And let's see where that takes us. You know, I said howdy to someone last night at the supermarket, Steve. And they were like, that's an American thing. And then they said to me that if I ever wanted to get back an American, because Americans always say when they hear a New Zealand accent, is that an Australian accent? You look at the American dead in the eyes and you say, oh, that's just like you Canadians to get that wrong. I thought that was pretty funny. And I thanked the guy for his witty insight before I went about the rest of my day. I thought, if the Kiwi's upset about being framed as a Canadian, the American's going to be twice that. So, anyway, obviously not a constructive way to behave, levelling up upset, but it's funny. It's funny. Personally, I couldn't care less about being labelled Aussie or New Zealand. I think they're two amazing places, and you'd be lucky to be labelled as either. Let's have a look-see. And also, congratulations, team. We just cracked 20,000. That's exciting. That is very exciting. Woo-wee. Just have a little look like this. Do. Sorry guys, just having a look at some of the notifications here. There we go. Just got a message there from a few folks. From a few lovely individuals. Some of them after commissions, some of them just saying hello. Emails and Discord team. So that's my the only place I try to, because notifications get a bit overwhelming sometimes, so I keep the Discord channel open. So the subscriber lounge on Discord is always on my phone to keep in touch with people, but everything else, I have like a schedule where I try to make sure I check it when I can. Otherwise, your phone's just... Shelby had just had enough. It was just ringing. Ringing. Not ringing as much as it was when I was working at as an ops manager for Cobb, but ringing in the form of like notifications going off. emails coming in, messages coming in, all those little bits and bobs. I love it personally. I don't know what I'd do if I wasn't busy, guys. When I'm in my 70s and we're still live streaming on TikTok and I'm going through layers of paint, I better still be busy. Because if I'm not, I don't know. The work might lack zest and purpose. If I lacked it. I feel like when you're busy, things that you touch and involve yourself with get zest, get beauty and purpose. And busy doesn't mean productive. They're two separate words. But I hear a lot of people saying, you want to be productive, not busy. No. I want to feel busy. I like that feeling. Like, don't criminalize a feeling of being busy. I like it. It feels good. But, I want to be productive. So I want the best of both worlds. I want to have my cake and I want to eat it too. I want to be busy, feel busy, but be productive. Up we come. All right, let's get a bit more of that through there. How are we looking? Right, I'm going to get some fiery red through here, I think. That's the next colour. Here's my plate. Do. La da da dee da do. There we go. Alright, fiery red. Where are we going to put you? It's a beautiful colour for highlighting with. Really nips in there. And it's interesting too, a little bit of water on the brush can go a long way when doing a bit of detail. It really does allow those brush strokes to become even thinner. Beautiful thing. There we go. Jan, P. I'm not quite sure what that name is. There we go. It's a pity we haven't had John visit today. But that's okay. This is actually John's great nephew. So it's kind of precious that we're doing it here right now. But that's okay. What am I looking at? You are looking at a picture of a baby wrapped in cloth in an impressionist wild, expressionist, crazy, abstract. I mean, I did a reel on abstract and expressionism. It's technically impressionism because we're spotting everything from the picture, but just a wild, crazy, primal, fun, colourful image of a new life being brought to this planet. Get used to it. You might see another one. We'll be sitting here in June or July, and I'll be painting my child, and I'll be like, look guys, it's the most beautiful child that's existed on the face of the planet. And you'll all be like, look, everyone thinks that about their baby. We need you to relax. This is the 5th baby portrait in a row, Sebastian. We need you to chill. And I'll be like, no, this is the best. I'm a baby painter now. You'd be like, look, we liked it. It was great. The 3rd one was okay. Now we're on to number 6. No. We keep a wide spread here. So the last baby portrait was about, how long ago? Maybe 2 years now. Time flies. So we're overdue for a baby portrait. So I was excited to see this one. But in terms of artwork, we try and do a landscape, we try and do a portrait, an elderly portrait, a couple's portrait, a family portrait, a child's portrait, a scene of some sort, and get this whole spectrum. Not for any other reason other than it keeps my inspiration and intrigue as high as possible. It keeps me engaged. It keeps me loose and free and not falling into any possible ruts that can occur. Woo. And Eva Dillison, I'm doing fantastic. JC, welcome into the building. Like the, now I don't know if they're in the north, but the northern lights that were in your story the other day, that was fun. There we go. And Steve, great Buddha garden. You probably saw that light come through, but didn't realise you had such a Buddha garden going on. Pretty exciting. Pretty fun. Has a client ever told you to redo a painting? I've worked with people in the past who we've made changes to paintings. So we've deviated and we've got to the end and we've thought, no, I need a bit more green or orange or blue or red, or I want this colour just a little bit more muted. And so then we can do these little surgical changes to the artwork. But typically, in terms of restarting a painting, because the clients typically follow on the whole journey, we don't often get excited about doing whole restarts. The emotion and the passion and the connection is with the work we've made. So it's unusual to want to redo emotion and passion. But because it hasn't happened, doesn't mean it couldn't happen. And if it did happen, it would be dealt with on a case-by-case basis. If we were after a certain style for a space, and then when we finish the painting, we both look at it and think, nah, we didn't quite get it. It's not quite on the money. Absolutely. In fact, you wouldn't even hear about it. I would redo it. There was a case where that happened recently when I was doing a work for the fish, the koi pond, for a lady named Claire in Ireland. If you saw the fish, there was a couple of fish up here and one scooping down the bottom here. I started that work, I did 2 layers on it and it wasn't right. So I actually threw that canvas out and started again. So that actually happened, but that wasn't because the client requested it. That was because myself, I thought, no, this isn't how I want it to look. So I have been known to restart paintings off my own bat, but I think the fact that I do that and that clients know that I do that gives them confidence that actually the work they're getting is something I believe in. Otherwise it wouldn't have shipped. I would have just restarted. I would have said, hey, the project's going to take longer. You know, I know we planned for X or Y date, but we've had a setback. I restarted. That's communication. And if you're selling art or buying art, keep the communication open. Talk, communicate. And the client will be very receptive if you say to them, look, I know we've put 20 hours into this. I'm in the wrong direction. I'm restarting. One good way to do it too, if you're new to making commissions, you can't ask for this as a collector, but as a new artist, a really good method. And what I did when I was starting out, I love Picasso. Cheers, Timmy. What I did when I was starting out was I would do 2, and when I was at the very start, 3 works side by side each other. You can say, it takes so long. Yeah, it did, but it provided me with immense confidence. So what I'd do is I'd have 3 works simultaneously building up through these layers, which I would then, 3 or 4 layers in, drop off the weakest one, gone. And then towards right up till the end, the last 2 or 3 layers, then the last one would go, and I'd just have 1 work for the final few layers. Now, you'd say that seems excessive, but for me, it was that immense confidence of knowing that actually it was the best it could be. And I'd keep the alterations and these older ones to the side, but actually, that actually provided me with immense confidence that in a chaotic style, I was on the right track. But now, I panic less about wild, vivid brushstrokes and a little bit of craziness inside of work, and I let it just happen more organically. But before, with my original approach, 2 or 3 canvases side by side, all lined up. And cheers, Fozzo. Fozdo. Fozdo? Fozdo. Do I like Picasso? Of course I like Picasso. I was saying last time, it sometimes makes me wonder if you swapped Picasso and Van Gogh around, if their art styles would dramatically change. I'm saying there is Cubism a reaction to fame? Or is fame... or was the... You know what, that's... Yeah. Is Cubism a reaction to fame? Or is fame a reaction to Cubism? Saying there is... Was Cubism only brought into existence because Picasso was famous? Or with or without fame, would Picasso have gone ahead and made Cubism a thing? I don't know. I don't know. Could go either way. If I had to put my money on one or the other, I don't think Picasso would have gone about labelling it if he wasn't famous. But I believe he still would have done it. I think when you're by yourself in isolation, you're less concerned with things like definitions. But with fame comes forcibly the force of necessity to define. So in some ways I wish Van Gogh was more famous so he could have defined things better, whereas we're sort of just expected to read into it ourselves to a degree. What age did you start painting your first form of art? I had art supplies around from a very young age, so I was painting from younger than most. My twos, my threes, but being that painting, and I've said this before, is more of a manner of expression, I'd worry less about how much time someone's been in the saddle, and I'd concentrate more on the quality of their riding. To give you a cowboy style phrase. Time in the saddle matters, obviously, in some senses, but more importantly, what are you making? How are you making it? Why does it matter? Does it matter? Got a bit on myself. There we go. Disaster. Cheers, Aaron. And Lorenzo. Well, it's slowly coming together. I think the face is in a good position. These cloths, at the moment, they feel splattered. I want them to feel like they're wrapping, that they're embracing. So there's a little bit of work to go to get that feeling. We'll get it. It's like one of the things. I'm demanding that to be in the picture, but it's not quite there yet. Here we are. Beautiful. And then down in here. You can see the vision, that's exciting. Hello, Poppy. Love that name, Poppy. You tell me, is that your real name or a TikTok name? If you prefer not to answer, that's totally okay too. Either way, I love it as a name. Poppy is beautiful. Lovely. Lovely. We're going to give this one a little bit of a break now. Poppy's your real name. That's lovely, Poppy. And that's good. So now when I say Poppy, I know who I'm speaking with. Also, digital expressionist abstract. It's a big mouthful, Cloyber. Is that your baby? Crazy Daho. No, it's not. This is a different baby. It's a lovely baby that's just entered this world, and we are going about capturing it in wild, crazy colour. But we're going to pause there, because this part through here needs some time to dry, so I can slash over these different colours. At the moment though, its texture's looking stunning. I'll bring you up to it. Here we go. Come with me. Here we go. So, up close, we can start to see the baby's face formed. Now, I don't want to get a look of... I want peace to be there, but happiness, sadness, these sorts of things, I don't want them in the face as much as I just want this very peaceful feeling. I'm in my mother's hands and come what may. Lovely. And then the blanket's wrapped around the baby. Again, the colours of the world, wild, chaotic, crazy, but wrapping. So there still needs to be a bit of work on that wrapping element, but it's coming in there gradually. Now I come right back to here. Oh, you can see the shot there too. So there's our shot, and there's our overall image. Just like that. Kind of fun. You can see it starting to show through, which is lovely. And if I can get the angle here, yeah, just like that, you can start to see the texture coming through the work, which is really fun. Just lightly there, but there's a bit of texture. Now, up there you go. Hold fire for just a moment. Or don't. Run off, that's cool too. I'm going to swap this one over. We've got another painting that needs our attention. This is beautiful though. It's in a fun place. It's in a fun place. It needs a little pause now, and then we'll come back to it for a few more of those beautiful highlights. Oh, is it gonna... There we go. Whoop. Had a feeling that was gonna fall. Back in just a second, guys. You guys have not seen this one yet, so this is going to be kind of fun. Alrighty tighty. This is brand new. This is not my house. Not my house, but it is a place that we stay. Here we go. Beautiful. Lovely. You guys haven't seen this one before. This is brand new. Is there the right spot? Yeah, there we go. And I'll bring that a bit closer. Turn the lights off in this place. This is actually something quite beautiful. We're painting a personality. This is Phyllis Feathers. Here we go. Voila. So we're painting this lovely character in full costume. Beautiful feathers cascading everywhere. This wants to be excitement exploding towards you. That's the goal. And I haven't released the reel yet, but this is our start. Wild, chaotic, pow, coming straight out of the surface at you. And now we're going to start building in a few other colours. Maybe a bit of definition. See where it takes us. A bit of fun. Poppy. Poupée. It's like a fancy poppy. Poupée. I don't know if it's fancier actually. Forget I said anything. This is going to be fun. There we go. Alright, I want the reds first. Saturated popping reds. But before I do, I might just run out the last little bit of this tan. And Poppy, I am from New Zealand. Bay of Plenty originally. That's my home. Give me back my hometown. This is my hometown. G'day, Mike. How long have you been here for, Mike? Sneaking around the background. Mike's like, hey, I just got here. So, Phyllis Feathers is a massive personality from the 20th century. Here in the 1970s. And this character's based on her. So, the goal here is to capture joy, exploding emotion, intensity, snuck it. Alright. You're off the hook, Mike. Intensity of emotion, joy, pleasure, vibrancy, spontaneity. There's a word I'm looking for. Flamboyant. Flamboyant's a word that doesn't get used nearly enough. One of the tragedies of the 21st century was flamboyant. Some people, from what I've heard, feel like flamboyant isn't the best thing. Flamboyant strikes me as the most polite, fantastic. Flamboyant is charisma, but it's like, I feel like flamboyant is the complete opposite of if you got charisma and you had like a seedy charisma, and then you had flamboyant charisma. There's no way flamboyant is ever anything other than positive, joyful, and a pleasure to be around. I feel like flamboyant's always a good thing. One second. Un momento. Just grabbing my iPad here. So, we're not going to use every colour in the spectrum, but we're going to use almost every hue of red we can get our hands on in abundance. And then it would be just a little bit of gold around her eyes. I want to get that heart of the party kind of vibe. Like, the kind of idea that tells you if this lady, this character is in the room, it's gonna be a good time. That's what we want to get. Poppy, you are up late. You might need to get some sleep. Might get a little bit of brown in here too, actually. Poppy's like, I know it's late. I'm having fun. Who's that? Maybe. Just gonna get myself some murky blues. Coming off like a greyish tone. Greys make the other colours pop so much more too. Let me just get these down in the early stages of it. Let me put you back. There we go. Hey, Jose. You my $1 fan? Appreciate that. It's I appreciate that, user, but this painting is taken. This painting is a commission. And so it already has a home, but I like your passion. I like your enthusiasm. You know, it'd be fun to paint though. Betty White. I'd enjoy that. A little bit more white in here. Old Mike's a fan of Betty White. That's fantastic. Thomas, you've finished drawing. Tom's like, I'm done drawing myself now. It's time to watch some other people. I like that. And East Coast Realtor. That's good. Glad I can be here for you, East Coast. Sounds like you have more commissioned paintings now than a few years ago. The difference is now that they get live streamed and I hang out with you guys while I do them. A few years ago, I would just, it was different. I would live stream myself painting, but I'd ignore the camera. I wouldn't talk, or I'd have loud music playing. Now I talk the whole time. It's a different world. It's a crazy world. And when I had a commission, I'd almost paint it in secrecy and then release it. But now, I take you guys on the journey, the ups and downs, Is it more pressure? Yeah, 100%. Things can go wrong, and you guys are here for it live. While I panic and slowly bring a portrait together. It's just terrifying. But what's the reward? Companionship, sharing, connection. It's worth it. And after how many works of art, we're getting pretty good at being vulnerable and exposed during this process. And not letting it beat us. Make us want to hide. Run. If anything, you guys now, for these commissions, you're a catalyst. You help me get authentic, real feeling into this picture. Ha! No. That was a fun place though, when I was working in the restaurant storage. That's going back to when you had to know someone who knew someone who could order a commission from me. Now there's links you can go to. How wild's that? How wild is that? Restoration. Yeah. Oh yeah. Cheers, Brian. East Coast, I can imagine that, yeah. That'd be so therapeutic to watch it go from something perfect that's since aged, going back to being perfect. Or getting it in the best condition it can be in. Things never go wrong when painting. They go exactly as they're intended, regardless of your desire. I mean, I think the question there is, what's our definition of perfect or wrong? And once we start talking like that, philosophically, we're probably getting away from the key. Is there even a key? What if I wanted to do perfect? I think they can go not as intended. Whether that's wrong or not is another question, but it's allowed. Alright. A bit more red. Let's do that. Bury me, I am thin do do. There we go. Now we're getting those feathers. That wild bouquet. Oh, there we go. Good old click on the solar plexus. We go. Now where is... There it is. No, this is a different character. This is called Phyllis Feathers. But I like your passion for Betty Milner. I mean, Out of curiosity though, let me see here. See if we're talking about the same person. Thinking about the same person. Beth Milder. I like where your head's at. She's a lovely lady. Let me see here. So, it's actually, you're on the right vibe. Here's our character, Phyllis Feathers. And Nene, the painting from Sunday. Remind me, Nene, which one was that? You let me know which one it is, Nene. Describe it to me. Here we go. There we go. Commission from the client, Lady and Border Collie. Yes! So we have completed that one. And it's actually in the process of being framed. So I don't have it right here beside me. But once it's framed, absolutely. Got a beautiful frame going on that one too. Lovely frame. So it's going to be floating, that one. A floating frame, which is quite a modern idea, but now everyone's doing it. It's less modern and more standard practice. When the first few floating frames were becoming things, it was a modern creative twist. But I still love it. The beauty behind it of not having the picture touched is still nice. I like it. I like it. Now we're on 7% team, so we've had a big day painting. We're about to run out of gas. And when we do, because the wind here is kind of strong, we might just call it a day when the phone reaches its end capacity. A little bit more. But I do love the lady and dog picture. There's beauty in that one. Simplistic chaos. Living. Cheers, ice pancake. Pardon me. Yeah, this is crying out for a bunch of white at the moment. I can see the inspiration for the painting. Oh, can you see it? Of course you can. Here we are. Phyllis Feathers. So, lots of crazy paint. And the reel for this one will be coming out in the near future. So I'm excited to share that. It's pretty chaotic. It's down at the beach. Woo! Killing. Cheers, guys. It's pretty fun to actually be in the process of capturing a character like this, because I've always felt the style of drag suited my style really, really well. With the bright colours, with the explosions of joy, happiness and pleasure. I just thought it's kind of fun that at this stage, now we're actually doing a performer, a beautiful character. Now I'm thinking, it was funny when the commission request came through, because I thought to myself, this is not only something I'd love to do, this is something I feel's borderline overdue. There we go. Ooh, it went really dark on me. Can't really see you guys. There we go. Yes. Brian's got it. Brian's on the right track. So it's not exactly Phyllis Diller. It's actually someone who's inspired their character, their stage character, off Phyllis Diller. So, kind of fun in that sense. A couple of steps going on here. Cheers, Mike. Kiwi bird. You know, Mike, it's funny actually. We talk about the Aussie versus Kiwi thing. I gotta admit, I like the Aussie things you can do on TikTok. And so sometimes as the gifts that you're like, which gifts would you like to hunt for this live? I choose the Aussie ones, the koalas and the kangaroos. They're kind of fun. That's a fun fact. I didn't know that. Thanks for sharing. East Coast Realtor in here dropping info. I love that fact. I wonder if she'd approve of this painting. There we go. Very Picasso. Oh, absolutely. Straight after this live, I'm Googling her artwork. Absolutely. There we go. A little bit of black. Do I come to the US? Good question. I don't typically come to the US, but all the artwork, most of the artwork ships to the US. Most of it. Alright guys, I was going to grab another colour, but I am on 2%, so it's about to die on me any time now. I'm loving where this one's at. It's definitely, right now, an explosion. There's a face coming out of the explosion right now, but it's funny how with this picture here, and this is the intention, you can see the face here smiling at you, coming out, but actually the attention goes as if the explosion's all around, coming out with it too. Not just the face itself coming out by itself, but this explosion of feathers around the character coming out with it. And that's what it's about. She's leaning forward, she's excited, she's an entertainer, she's covered in feathers, and in this particular moment, it's the joy that she's bringing it towards you. That's what this is all about. So I'll just quickly show this one. Voila. Voila. Alright guys, I'm on 1% now, so I'm definitely going to die. Thanks for joining on in. Steve, Mike, Jay, if you're still here, really appreciate it guys. Look after yourselves, and I will see you next time. Thanks for being here, team. Fun here. Really appreciate it, guys. Look after yourselves, and I will see you next time. Thanks for being here, team.